like the best piece of advice that we would say to anybody is get that software, if it's a CRM, if it's your booking system, whatever it is, and put the time into getting that set up. Everybody, and welcome to the Mindset and Marketing Podcast. Here at the Mindset and Marketing Podcast, we cover two things, the two most important things that we believe that you need to master in life to achieve everything that you want. 1, mindset. 2, marketing. For regular listeners of the show, you'll know that it's normally myself and Matthew, the co-host, but Matthew is on holiday at the minute, touring the world, and I get the opportunity then to be joined by some gorgeous guests who are hopefully going to give you insights into their experience with starting a business, the highs, the lows, and then just hoping really that we can eliminate some of those fears and any kind of doubts that you're thinking about if you're starting or in that journey at the minute. Today I am joined by the gorgeous Carmel, who was previously, well still is, a nurse practitioner, but now business owner. So hello Carmel.
Good morning. How are you, Sharon?
I'm good. And Carmel is calling or zooming in from Bermuda.
I am. It's very sunny today.
We can't talk about the weather whenever I live in Ireland. It's not allowed. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate it. Obviously, you and I have been working together for a bit now. And just from getting to know you and your business, I've just thought it's a great opportunity to get you on and just talk through that journey. So do you want to maybe start by, before we get into your business now, maybe just giving the listeners a bit of an insight into what you were doing previously?
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned, I'm a nurse practitioner and a nurse prescriber. I've had quite a past, to be honest, in terms of nursing. Nursing is a very vast career and you can get into lots of different things. So I've worked as a health visitor, I've worked in emergency, I've worked in general practice. I originally trained in aesthetics, which is where we are today, back in 2006 when I was living in Bermuda full time, and I did the initial training in Florida when Botox was still a bit taboo and people not really wanting to be seen or known to have had those sorts of procedures. So knowing that demographic or geographic, I knew that if I was going to be practicing aesthetics in Bermuda independently, then I really needed to be as confident and competent with my skills as possible, because I wasn't sure whether or not there would be anybody else here that knew any more than I did. So I took that time between 2019, like I say, 2023, to really hone in those skills with the view of when I came back to open up my own business.
Wow, you're saying about Bermuda there. I was thinking the first thing people think is the Bermuda Triangle and everything's lost, and Carmel's never coming back.
No, I'm backwards and forwards quite frequently, and it's so far so good. I've made it. They did have a bomb scare. They had a bomb scare last week, actually, which was like, as you can imagine, in a population of 57,000, it was a bomb scare on the BA flight about to take off for London. So it was high drama, but that's another story.
And you know what? Saying that, obviously where I live in Northern Ireland, that's just an everyday occurrence, which is crazy. But back to kind of your business thing side of things. So did you have it in your head then that you always wanted to kind of open your own clinic, or was this something that you kind of learnt along the way, or how did that come about?
Yeah, so my husband's what I now call a serial entrepreneur. Any empty space, he figures that there's something he can put in there. So his background was in hairdressing, and so he's opened and operated hair salons and beauty places. Nail places is probably the sort of, I suppose, the biggest one that he's done and most recent. So obviously I was always sort of involved with the business side and human resources, staff management, and also obviously that sort of beauty field. So I guess when you look at aesthetics, it was, it's not such a big jump for me to get into that space. But I didn't want to be working in a nail salon in a small space. I wanted an independent space that was which was more clinically orientated, med spa orientated. So I guess, yeah, it was in the back of my mind, but it was really wanting to be able to work independently when I came back to Bermuda.
Yeah, yeah. And because it was a new venture, so we should maybe introduce that. So obviously Carmel now, you're almost not even a year, isn't it, in business?
Yeah, July.
Um, yeah. So that was in, what was it, the 1st of July
1st of
last year?
July, yeah, 2023.
Congratulations. So that's when Carmel opened the skin company. So that's, you obviously have that aesthetics clinic in Bermuda. So Reed Street in Bermuda. And we'll get into that. Just talking about having the on-street presence and the online presence. But so yes, it's not fully been a year yet. Based on kind of just looking back at it all, was there anything that, okay, you had your husband's support, but were there any apprehensions or any thoughts around, oh, maybe can I do this? Should I do this? What were you feeling then?
So yeah, I think like I said, between sort of 2019, the focus was on competency and getting as much education as possible. But I'm a health professional, and I'm very good with my clinical skills, but really not any good at all when it comes to social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, website. There's lots of like online tools where you can build your own website, online training on how to do social media. But my personal opinion was that I wanted to be able to focus solely on the service delivery side, but I also wasn't ignorant to the fact that I might be really good, but if people don't know that I'm here, then it doesn't really matter. And so my apprehension was, how was I going to use those platforms? How was I going to integrate those platforms successfully that didn't involve me? Because I think sometimes when there's a tendency to think that you can do it all. And I'm not saying that you can't. And some people can be very savvy with that. But I think then you're dividing your time between what you're doing in your business in terms of the service that you're delivering, and then what is happening outside of it. So finding the right companies to work with was really important. And I spent a lot of time searching. And as you were aware, I found you, which wasn't a mistake. I felt like it was really, there was lots of, I don't even quite know what the right term is, but social media personnel and companies to choose from. There was some that were local in Bermuda, which would have seemingly made more sense, because I can meet them face to face and we can go through what needed to happen. But the reason why I chose you was because of you had experience in the space that I was in, which I thought was important, because I needed someone to be able to understand what a med spa was, what's that client journey, what are the types of services, how we want to present ourselves, rather than, and actually, when I did speak to somebody in Bermuda, they had all of the skills, but they didn't understand what a med spa was. They weren't able to separate it from like a physician's office or a spa. So they didn't really tell the difference between the two. So that was really important. And I spent a lot of time, researching that, and also for the website development as well, because again, I could be in a beautiful space, but if nobody knows where I am and they can't access me, then again, pretty much a waste of time. And obviously everything, like if I compare what from 2006, when I first was doing a bit of this, and then to today, it was newspapers, it was flyers, it was word of mouth, it was all of those. And obviously that's not the world that we're living in right now. Whether I like it or not, that's how people are searching for different services, what they might like. That's how they're engaging. So I knew that was my weak spot, and I needed to make sure.
And you know what? see, even as we're talking, obviously we were engaging, before you opened the premises, and that's just such a key point there, that you're making, Carmel, and you done this like to the next level. You researched everything, you figured everything out, you made the plan so that whenever those doors opened, everything was already set up, all the processes were in place, which we'll come to. But even before that, the amount of research that you done, you talked about it there, just educating yourself more, making sure that you were the expert in that area. But further than that, you looked at the competition there, like you done that robustly, so you could see then, right, well, what's everybody offering, and how am I different, and how am I better? And that is so apparent now from even just in the short period of time that you guys have been open. If anybody checks out the skin company in Bermuda, you'll see, you immediately come up alongside your competitors straight away. And more than that, so Carmel's been open, what is that? How many months now? Is that like 10? 10 months. Carmel's already, well, the skin company are already almost got more Google, like 5-star Google reviews than any of the other companies that are out there, in Bermuda doing what you're now doing and have been doing it for years. And that's a testament to you and the team, and putting that preparation, in to kind of just highlight what made you unique, and again setting up all those processes to make sure that you are getting reviews from clients, so important.
And I think one thing really struck out to me, when I think maybe the first thing that somebody would say to you, if you're going to open a business, you need to have a business plan. And I don't know if anybody's tried to write a business plan. I know I've looked at all of the prompts on a business plan and just like gone, okay, I'm leaving. I'm not doing this.
Yeah, that's intense.
I'm not doing, it's too intense. Like, it was just too intense. So you'll know what those questions are like. But I chose yourselves, and I chose somebody to build my website. And in exactly the same way, she was somebody, early 40s. She was already using our services. She was already familiar with the services that we wanted to offer. She used them herself, and obviously super skills in building a web design. And like yourselves, I was given these questionnaires that I had to fill out. And to be honest, by the time both of you had finished with me, I actually had a business plan in place.
Yeah.
And I think I absolutely underestimated that, the importance of it. But it really makes you drill down on who you are, what is your brand, what is your philosophy, why will people come to you, so it's not just a matter of what are your competitors doing, it's also really important to be able to clearly communicate who you are. And although I knew who I was in my head, and I knew what I wanted the space to look like, I'd worked in a couple of spaces in London, so I already knew the flow and design of the space. You really need to know what it is that separates you. And I would have absolutely skipped over that stage had I not engaged you as a social media company, and I'd not engaged the website, because everything then came together. And that's what allowed me to open the business with the 2 estheticians before I even got back to Bermuda, because all of those things were in place, from the booking system to the website to the social media content, the lead up to it, and everything. If you pay to have a website done professionally, you're going to have a brand library to be able to pull on, which I was able to then share with you. So then all of my colors and my fonts and all of those things, I could just hit the passwords and you just got on with it. And then the things came together.
And I know we talked about it briefly there, when you were saying, obviously you've got the clinic, but then you understand the importance of getting the word out there so that people come. What was it? Because sometimes what we'll see with people who are starting businesses or in businesses, especially if it's a bricks and mortar business, they will focus solely on the premises, and doing all of that work. And once they're in and they're kind of maybe looking at the door or checking the checkout and going, what's happening here, then they look into kind of the online presence afterwards. For you, was that ever a thought, or did you just, based maybe on your husband's, probably his background before, were you just like, no, they come hand in hand?
I think that the online presence for me was, my thought was that needed to be the first introduction to the space, because I knew that people were going to see things online before they even walked into the space. Particularly if you compare, like I was saying, 20 years ago, it is the physical space that they would come into first. So I'm not sure if that sort of that answers the question, but that first impression, what do they say? First impression, there's a saying about first impression.
Like, yeah, why is it gone? First impression,
You only get one
yeah,
chance to make a first impression or something like that. And I think if it's because everybody is online and searching, all of those images, the messages that were out on our Instagram, when people were then driven to the website and they went onto the website, people were, I knew that they would be exploring all of that before actually coming in. So we just need to make sure that when they did come in the door, that we were then reflecting what they had already seen online. And then I was confident that that was the case because of that extensive business plan that I had to write. So
yeah,
it all, if that, I'm not sure if that's.
yeah. No, that does, and that's kind of the one of the most kind of important things to kind of think about whenever you are opening a business, even if it is on the high street. That people will obviously come and see you when they walk past that area, and you're going to have gorgeous flyers, posters, or signs, or whatever it is to entice them in. But a lot of the times they're maybe not going to come into that space yet, and they're going to go online and they're going to look up who you are, what you're about. And that's why, and you did it anyway, but a lot of people don't consider that, at the start when opening, like, so that if you are being searched, and even people who haven't walked down past those streets, and they're searching for your services, it's just important that then, like you say, your brand is reflected online as well, so that people can have an opportunity to. And I think with the websites, especially because some people will do it and they'll maybe have a social media channel, but not a website. And like, for us, we're always saying both, because the website, then the social media allows you to scroll and get a glance as to what's going on and a flavor of what what it's about and that it's open. But the website is kind of almost like this powerhouse of, all of your services are on your website. It's easy for people to kind of book in to the clinic. And we'll maybe go into this as well now, is just then the processes that come behind that you've kind of set up to just kind of manage and automate a lot of then the marketing behind your business. So when I know we touched briefly on websites there, one of the kind of questions that I asked you previously was, and this is especially important for any kind of service-based business that has, booking appointments as one of their service offerings or stages, is really figuring out what booking system will work for your business. Because, okay, yes, booking systems will click a button, they can book in, brilliant, done. But there's so much more that your booking system can do for your business. And if you get that right, it can be your account management software, it can be your email marketing, it can be all of these things. So I asked you before, but if you wouldn't mind just going kind of chatting through that, what made you and just sharing your story about the kind of picking your booking system process.
Yeah, so yeah, I remember we mentioned it, did talk about it before. So obviously coming from a clinical background, I had found a software system that was very clinical orientated. So it meant that my consent forms were actually already built. I just needed to pop in my name. All of the pre and post aftercare information that could, it was all there. And I was very fixed on using that system. But then when I looked into a little bit further, what I wasn't able to do was anything. People couldn't book an appointment. They wouldn't be able to. I'd have to link that then into something else. And so, yes, we're not a spa, we're not a nail boutique, but those sorts of systems, they are more customer focused and more you're able to do a lot more things behind the scenes. So for example, I use a system called Timely, which I would encourage people to have a look at, but it meant that it would link to my website. It would link to allow us to take deposits for bookings, which this other one wouldn't be able to do. I was able to I had to create my own templates, but the templates were there just to do, and they were very easy to do. But also when people were booking an appointment, they would get automatic reminders about their appointment. And then one of the key things was that I was able to set when I wanted to send things out after somebody's appointment. So after 24 hours, there is an email that I was able to put together, just asking people how they were, if they were concerned about anything, if they could reach out to us, after their appointment. And then there was another 1, 2, 3 days later, which would invite them, we hope that you enjoyed your visit at the skin company. We'd love to hear your feedback, and the link that went directly to our Google review. So that was something that was all then set up. And I think not only for that, there is a link that goes into our Instagram where all of our other social media information is there as well. So it meant all of that was going on behind the scenes. And I think that's why we were able to also get some of those Google reviews, but then also, have learned that the more you can channel people into your social media platforms or website, that then increases your presence on Google, if you like, because they're going, don't ask me any more than that. I just know that happens. But there is something that happens when
the magic happens
and gives you a review, and you are where you want to be on whatever these ranking things are. I don't know. And so we have I think that's how we've also managed to have those reviews. But it also meant that I wasn't spending time having to call people after appointments and following up after appointments. You can also do appointments where if someone's had Botox, and we'd normally say every 3 to 4 months, it will set an automatic reminder from people that have had Botox and say, hey, it's time for your next Botox appointment, or it's time for your next hydrofacial or your next microneedling. So it takes a lot of time to put all of that together. And I know that last year we were hoping to open in April, but just planning and building delays, which you will definitely come across, happened. But it meant that that entire month of April, I was able to sit down with the 2 staff that were already on board, and we were able to put our information in. And so and build that software and build all of the automatums. And so it meant that they were also really familiar with the system because they'd help put the information in. The products are in there as well, and all as you can imagine. So when we opened on the 1st of July, I wasn't actually even in Bermuda. I didn't come back to Bermuda and towards the end of July, but bookings were able to go in for injectable treatments, and they were able to do the aesthetics that they were doing, such as the hydrofacial and laser hair removal and what have you. But they knew the system, they understood the system because they'd helped to build it. And it was very, and everything else was linked into it. Your website was linked into it. I think I gave you guys take my passwords, and I don't know what you need to do, but
yeah, integrate everything in. And like that's night and day, and this is where a lot of people that we find kind of maybe just try and take the easy route. The easy route would be not to do all of that just yet, and just get the initial elements that you need. So someone book in, and then the staff follow up with that, and honestly, if it's any, like, the best piece of advice that we would say to anybody is get that software, if it's a CRM, if it's your booking system, whatever it is, and put the time in to getting that set up, because it's frustrating and it is time consuming to do it. But in the end, now the amount of time that you have saved on not having to do those reminder calls, and you're not having to pay the staff to do that. Your marketing's already going out, the admin for it's all gone. The kind of the paperless trail that we talked about before that you wanted is now in process. And I think that one of the big things as well is, when the only way to do good marketing is to know your stats. So if you have everything in kind of pointing to one place, so that system and your website and your socials, like that all pulls together, well then you're able to see quite quickly, Carmel, what is going well in terms of services as a new business. And like they're probably all going well, but which ones are performing the best, which ones maybe need a bit of encouragement or more talked about on socials that maybe aren't getting booked as much, all of those things.
And I think one good example of that, I think you'll remember, I was very focused on doing skin analysis. So that one of the main things that I wanted to, sort of what our sort of brand was like, was that everybody pretty much has a skin analysis done. We usually observe 520x, and rather than, so it's an objective tool. It will show different layers of the skin, but then we were able to then put together what we called a 5-point treatment plan based on the skin analysis, and direct the treatments accordingly and spread them out and what have you. And so that's where we started with our social media, I think, remember, because the drive was to get people through the door for the skin analysis. Now, with the skin analysis, we would charge $50 for a skin analysis. They would have their photos, they'd get emailed a report, but they would get that $50 redeemed on their first service. And I think we went through the stats before, and I mean, we've done hundreds of skin analysis, and every single skin analysis has either been a product has been purchased or treatments have been booked. And then they tell their friends, and then we were able to put in a referral program in our booking system. So another email that goes out automatically is a refer a friend, where they have a complimentary like mini facial or a small percentage off what a treatment of their choice.
Brilliant.
And when you ask people, how did you find out about us? It is, yes, they've seen us on Instagram and they've seen it on socials, but a lot of the times as well, it's because their friends have been. I saw someone yesterday actually, who for the first time, and she had her treatment and her bill was kind of up there. And I said, are you sure? I said, are you sure you don't have, you haven't referred anybody? And she said, no, I haven't. She said, I'm the last one to come. All of my friend groups, like they've all referred. She said, but I'm going to have to find some people. And that's the other, thing that you like, I don't know, this business in particular, you've always got friend groups. And so things like a referral program, like, particularly if I'm going to, put a needle in someone's face, I think if somebody has been before and it's a friend of theirs or it's a family member, then they already trust me before they've walked through the door. So although I might be giving off a small percentage, or I might be doing a small facial or what have you as a thank you, for me, I don't know, 80% of that trust is already there. Then I'm worried about whether or not they're going to be okay, because you certainly would not be sitting here having seen your friend come, and the friend wasn't happy. So I think I might have gone off on a tangent there, but the skin analysis we started with and we stuck with it, and the website also tried to funnel people into booking a skin analysis. So every single page, I think, on the website, even though it might have been talking about a different service, there was a booking button for skin analysis, because I knew that once somebody came in, we did that, then the rest was up to us. They've been driven.
And that's such an insightful tool as well. Two things there: the reward programs. You see loads of top companies doing this now. People tend to forget about their existing customers, and they always go after the new. But it's actually cheaper to go after your existing customers. So our rewards program is perfect for that. And then the other thing that you've done really well there too is like we always talk about low ticket offers. You know, people don't know you yet, people haven't got the experience yet, the website's just up, the socials are just going. You know, your services are kind of a bit higher ticket, you know, than a skin analysis would be. But it's offering people an insight into your business without maybe having to not break the bank, but, you know, part with too much money yet, because they're still getting to know you. And that's something that we say to all clients, you know, if it's on your website, whatever it is, just always have like a lower ticket offer that you done so well, you know, just to get people through the door and then the word spreads from there.
Yeah, and people are so impressed with that, you know, they can't believe it's their own face, and like, well, you know, it's not me saying it, like the camera doesn't lie.
I'm actually afraid of getting it done. I know I'm not in Bermuda, but I know it's all going to be bad.
People are like, no, don't send me. I don't want to see the pictures. I don't want to see the pictures. Don't send them to me.
Just tell me
what it is that I've got to do. Just how do I fix it? But it comes across as, even though a couple of the reviews actually that were on the Google, like, you know, people coming in for skin analysis, which was another important thing, was that people don't feel that they're being, somehow anyway, but they don't feel that they're being sold anything. I think when you can have a genuine conversation with somebody about their skin, so it's not me saying, oh, I think it looks dry, I think you have pigmentation, I think, you know, fine lines, wrinkles and what have you. This is quite detailed and been able to go through all of those steps. And one of the other things that we don't do is, if someone comes in for a skin analysis and you've always got people that have got 20 products at home on the bathroom shelf, and then you've got people that have got 2 products. What we try and get people to do is just use, you know, find out what they're using, find out what the active ingredients are they going to work for the skin concern that we can see? If they're not, then we may add in one of our products. We use a Lumiere and pH formula. So we don't try and sell people lots of things when they come in, and we're doing it quite naturally and quite genuinely, because honestly, if you've got 10 things and you're not using them, why am I going to give you another 5? In fact, we sort of like, you know, do this and then we might let you buy some of our products.
Nice. I don't know, are you sure you haven't done a degree in marketing? Are you sure? It's always like, we always talk in Bankhouse about you know, pains and gains messaging. So it's like, kind of go through the pains, get them to talk about them, how they feel about all of those things, and then you introduce yourself subtly as a solution, but not the hardcore sale, but like, you know, the education and then the solution. So you're like, I think you've done a degree in marketing. See, the point, basically what we're all saying here is, anybody who wants to start a business, Carmel is the one who will take you through it. Well, look, I know that you're super, super busy. But just before you go, I just always like to try and ask kind of just a mindset question as well, you know. So from like a mindset perspective, what would be the biggest kind of takeaway that you would give to somebody out there who's maybe thinking about starting their own business?
I always think that when you've done your homework, when you feel confident and competent about what you're doing, you can do anything. When you are genuine, and I think we were laughing about the marketing degree, but I think people can sense when you come from a genuine place. And I think if you have the experience and you have the skills and you've really I've put myself in some very uncomfortable positions in order to feel confident about what I do, and turn people away if I'm not confident in doing that. But I think it comes down to your preparation, and then making sure that you've got the right team around you, in order, so that, because I think I mentioned before, 90% of my time I spend doing what I want to do, and that is the clinical side of things, as opposed to 90% of the time worrying about, you know, how am I going to get the appointment book filled? How am I going to make sure that people know that we exist? I spend my time doing what I love to do, but that is because of the preparation, I think, And we've still got loads to do, don't get me wrong, like loads to do, and I still get nudges from you in particular, Sharon, on what I'm not doing and what I should be doing. And I do it.
Sorry.
I do. But I just, so I think preparation, education, and having confidence confidence in yourself and in your own abilities. But you do actually have to identify what your weaknesses are and then find somebody who can, build you up.
And fill those gaps, yeah. Yeah, I think there's lots of great, valuable information in today's podcast, Carmel. So thank you so much for being so open and sharing with us. We wish you every success in your business. We already know it's there, and we hope that just continues to grow and grow. For anybody out there who happens to land in Bermuda at some point, check out the Skin Company on Reed Street. You can Google it because the reviews are already there because of Carmel's hard work. And I think the big lessons there, like Carmel had just said, is, look, there are fears or uncertainties about opening a new business or starting one. And all that's standing in your way there is preparation and planning. Think about not just if it's a bricks and mortar business, nail that online presence and make sure you are future-proofing your business plan so that whenever you step through that door, like Carmel, you can focus on what it is that you want to do and that you love to do, and that the rest is already capturing all the data and then able to market itself out to you. It sounds overwhelming, but Carmel, you hadn't done it before, and you managed to get through it still smiling.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, and obviously getting the right people behind you. So Carmel, thank you so much for your time today. Everybody, thank you for listening, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. But bye for now. Bye.